Hi, YouTube. Happy Veterans Day to all of our service members, active and retired. Um, I just want to speak a little bit about a veteran that impacted my life. And I think it's a really cool story. You guys might like it. It starts out with about 22 years ago in Oceanside, California. My beautiful mother worked as a cosmetologist in a little barber shop called Stud Cuts. Um, it's really close to Camp Pendleton, and we used to meet. Well, I used to hang out in that shop and play video games, play arcade games. They had the old stuff, Pac-Man and stuff like that. Um, but almost every time I was in that shop, Marines would come in looking like the biggest badasses, looking scary and intimidating. But they would come and they would throw quarters into machines with me, and they would just play with me until their haircut came up, and they would just tell me funny stories and just had me laughing and just loving life. So I went from hating going into the shop with my mom because all the ladies were always all over me trying to cut my hair and do things to me and pretty me up, and I got over that real quick. But the Marines that came in there saved me from all that. They were really, really just some awesome guys, some really just genuinely good guys, and that's where my experience began with military personnel. I'm gonna jump right in and just talk about one in particular. I think my mom was in her late 20s at that time, and this one Marine would come in and constantly ask her out. Like, constantly. He was relentless. He was only 22, I believe, and blonde hair, blue eyes. His name was Jason E. Lewis, and he was just, typical young Marine guy, just Oorah, just ripped and just freaking just funny and young and just full of energy, and my mom really liked that. But she was apprehensive because of the age difference, and I think he might have been one of the youngest guys she ever dated, or one of the first youngest guys she dated. I don't know. But he broke her down, and she eventually ended up saying yes, she would go on a date with him. And I believe my little brother and I, maybe even my little sister, no, I don't think my little sister went, but I think my little brother and I even went on the date with him. We might have gone to like the drive-in movies or to like a Thai restaurant or something like that. We could have done both of those things at different times. But anyways, this guy broke my mom, and she agreed to date him. And it was just one of the greatest periods of time in my life as a child. Especially, it was a highlight of the time I spent with my mom. My mom was back and forth in and out of my life constantly. As a kid, I would go, 6 months to a year without seeing or hearing from her sometimes. She was just a wild child. She was probably going through a lot of the same issues that I'm going through now, just trying to figure herself out and just sick of being judged by everybody for every single little decision you make, and just trying to find her way. So anyways, this Marine, Jason E. Lewis, there's a couple of little stories that I remember really particular about him. So I'm just going to talk about those. One of the things was my mom lived in a second-story apartment building in Oceanside off of Nevada Street, and there was this little palm tree growing right in front of the handrail that went to her front door to her apartment. And from the day Jason walked up those stairs the first time, that was the last time that me and my little brother used those stairs when he was around. We started this little thing where we would climb up this palm tree. About halfway, Jason was super strong, so he would jump over the handrail of the second-story balcony, and he would hang by one hand. And then he would grab my hand and pull me up and put me over the railing. And eventually my little brother got a little bit older and saw that, I was able to do it a bunch of times. So he trusted Jason enough, and then that tradition began, where every time he would go up those stairs, we were arriving to the apartment, Jason would just manhandle us up onto the second balcony, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And there was many cool things about Jason. I think his background was he was from Kentucky. I hope I'm not getting this wrong, but it's been a long, long time. And he was just really, really polite. You know, he always said, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. I don't know if that was from how he was raised. I'm sure it was. But I'm sure the military had something to do with it as well. But he was just a genuinely good guy, just really, really nice and polite and really, really thoughtful and really kind. And he helped my mom through a lot of rough times. It was a rough time for my mom. She was going through a lot of stuff. And he was always there for her, no matter how abrasive my mom could be. Sometimes, you know, she would try and push him away, I think, out of fear he was becoming too attached to her and she wasn't ready for something as serious as he might have wanted. But another little story I have about Jason is not only was he good to me and my mom and my little brother and my little sister, but he was good to my father as well. One time we went out to camp. Well, my dad brought me out to Camp Pendleton, or to Oceanside. I'm sorry. And I think he was either there dropping me off for the weekend or picking me up from a weekend. And we all went to the tank graveyard. Jason took us to the tank graveyard, and it was freaking amazing. I think that is part of what sparked my passion for being involved in fabrication of metals and welding, is seeing those giant rusty steel skeletons of retired military vehicles all just laid out, and just it was just amazing. The scale of them to me as a child was just incredible. They were really just something to look at. So my dad often speaks about that. He says, do you remember that? And I go, yeah, Dad, it was awesome, huh? You know, and it's just one of those things. But another time, Jason took us to Camp Pendleton, and he took us boogie boarding, me and my little brother and my mom. And he was like, you guys want to go see something cool? And we were like, yes, always with Jason. It was always something cool. He was always doing something cool with us. And that was one of the things that made me just really, really appreciate that guy so much. So he took us and he showed us these big, huge chains that were anchored into the sand on the shore of the beach. And he told me, yeah, they chain down the hovercrafts for when they're doing training for new recruits that are learning and stuff. And I just thought that was super cool. And a few years later, not with Jason, but later on down the road, I got to see those exercises, and it was really, really rad. But I just want to thank Jason. I want to thank all veterans, because, I mean, these guys go in young, free, open-minded, without a care in the world, and they sacrifice their youth for us. You know, some of them in more ways than others, unfortunately, but these guys give away the best years of of their lives for our freedom, and so that we can keep the rights that we have as Americans and keep the standing that we have in the world. And whatever your stance is on the military or the conflicts that we've had and created over the world, regardless to any of that, just thank a veteran, because, you know, it could be any one of us, but it isn't. It's them. They did it. They just sucked it up and sacrificed. They don't get paid well. They go through freaking hell, and they often come out of it with a smile and just glad to have served and protected us. And that's something really special. Like I said, regardless of your opinion on conflicts or wars, I'm not a fan. But that can't take away from the sacrifice that these young men and women make for us. So Jason E. Lewis, if you see this video, or if anybody knows Jason E. Lewis that might have been at Camp Pendleton around that time, just thank him. Just tell him thank you from me. My mom was Laura Humanick at the time. So if that sparks any memory, it'd be great to hear from you, Jason. A couple more things before I end the video. At one point, Jason gave me a dog tag of his, and I've kept it for 22 years. It's right here. It's always been on my key ring. Every vehicle I've ever had, I've put it straight onto the keys. It's something that I hold really, really, really deep to my heart. It's really special to me. And there's one more thing. He went to Okinawa for a short period when him and my mom were dating or friends or whatever the situation may have been. I was young, so it was complicated. But he gave me this little dog, little hand-carved bulldog that he got in Okinawa. And I've also kept this little guy for 22 years. At least 22 years. It may have been 23. But that's how special that guy was to me and how big of an impact he made in my life. I've often looked back and thought about him a lot. And Jason, thank you. And thank you to all of our active and retired members of the military and armed forces. You guys are some incredible people, and I'm truly grateful for your sacrifices. I really am. And I take any chance I can get to thank you guys. So YouTube, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit all over the place. I'm kind of, trying to figure out the ropes of this thing. But hopefully tomorrow my first interview will be up, and I'll continue a little bit into the military theme, possibly. So I hope you guys continue to watch and enjoy. Please like and subscribe the video. Comment. Please comment, guys. I need some more feedback. I need some input. You guys are my street team. You guys are the ones who are going to tell me if what I'm doing is right. I need to know. Is this boring? Is there any point where I should talk about other things? Are you sick of me saying, Let me know. All right? You guys have a wonderful day.